Hi guys, good morning. There's some construction going on outside right now, so please bear with me through this video, but I cannot wait to dive deeper into this YouTube video. And I wanted to talk about the immigrant experience as well as like dreaming big, but what happens if, we are faced with tremendous heartache. And I'm not talking about the heartache where maybe a boyfriend has left you behind or you're divorced. But the heartbreak of like dreaming so big, having such like a big Delulu mindset, and always facing adversities. And I want to talk about this today because I haven't seen a lot of people dive deep into it. Like I've seen a couple, but yeah, it's just what's on my heart today. And I left the Philippines along with my family when I was the age of 9. And yes, like I feel like I face adversities so much along the way, but then there comes a point where you follow the rules, right? They say, okay, immigrate to the United States. Okay, do well in school. Go to college. Do well in the exams. And I was at a point where I was like, even to the point where I felt like I had assimilated or acculturated very well. Like, for example, the way that I speak. I used to have a really strong accent when I had immigrated to the US, but I had gotten better with my speaking skills through like writing and putting myself in situations where I would speak more. And so, there's like, it's kind of like the hazing stage of dreaming so big of one day making it out and being able to provide for myself and eventually, hopefully, my parents and my future kids. But it just feels like, I feel like there's been like adversities one after another. The most recent one I could think of was definitely even after my lung cancer diagnosis at age 28. Me and my husband decided to go and move to Florida because I wanted to move by the ocean, but he couldn't get out of the US just yet. So I knew that I didn't want to move to California because the water there is so cold and also the prices are so high. And so I was like, okay, we're going to go move to Florida. And nobody really understood why. My family does because they're used to me moving around so much and having big dreams. His family didn't really understand why we would move away from family. And for me, I stood my ground on business. I was like, I am following my intuition. We are going. It's so beautiful there. And I would love to wake up every single day to nature. And while it's such like a beautiful place, it's incredibly gorgeous there. The government energy just doesn't vibe. I can't go into details yet. One day I will be able to, but we had to unexpectedly go home after 10 months, and our lease was for 1 year. So for us having had to go home that early, we also had to pay $7,000 for breaking the lease and leaving too early. And yeah, I think that it took me about 2 or 3 years to get over that heartbreak. But I tell you this story because at that point, I was like, maybe I've banked enough adversities in my life. Maybe I've gone through enough hardships and now I have good karma on my side. But shit just kept hitting the fan. Like, what the hell, right? But I am finally at a point where I can honestly say, please don't ever suppress shame or guilt the part of you that dreams big. For a while, I felt so bad for taking my dogs and taking my husband all the way out there for us to just go home and have to pay that much money. I still have no regrets about moving. I know that it was something that we couldn't control. And, having faced lung cancer at age 28, of course you're going to want to do something different. I don't want to just stay my ass home while I was facing my own mortality. Like, how could that make sense? I mean, some people might. Some people might want to be in their comfort zone, but I literally wither away when I'm in my comfort zone. And moving across the country was me making that leap or jump. And then I feel like I fell on my face. Like my whole entire body just fell from the sky down to the ground. And I had to pick myself back up. I feel like that moment, I thought I had been radicalized before. You see, memories come back. But that moment truly radicalized me of how unfair and injustice, like the impacts it could have in your body. I was just crying and I was walking in a daze for so long. Thankfully, my sister and her husband and her kids, they opened up their home. That's where we have been staying since. But the heartbreak of being an adult too, and not having your own place after achieving so much in your life. And for me, I felt like I just lost so much, especially me being able to design my own home, me being able to be in my own space. It was just so much of like an identity crisis for me because I had been on my own since I was 18 years old. But all of this to say that it's been 3 years now and I'm mostly healed from that. I've been able to graduate with my doctorate degree, and that is like a milestone for me because I was in the middle of my program and I had envisioned, living in Florida while I was finishing that degree, because the plan was to be able to relax by the ocean that whole time and just like finish. It was like a clean vision for me, is like to go by the ocean, finish my dissertation. Lo and behold, that vision was true, but I ended up being in El Salvador instead, and having a fun trip, a fund paid for there by the Dear Jack Foundation. I just realized that right now, that the vision was true, and that it just wasn't in Florida at that time. But I think that I realized big time that even when you play it safe, for us, playing it safe was staying within the borders of the United States at that time. I thought that I was playing it safe, but I feel like it was like a gut punch of expanding and being able to see the world again. It was that exact heartbreak where I kind of learned to be more of myself, gain my voice back big time. And I know that it shifted something in my marriage as well, where my voice was back. That's when I started solo traveling again. Yeah, I would say that if you are going through adversities in life and you just keep getting heartbreak after heartbreak and you just feel like you can't get a break, please don't ever let go of the part of you that dreams big. There's also times where I felt ashamed of dreaming so big because people question like, why did you do this and why did you do that? For example, when my mom was passing away, I feel like I suppressed so much of myself that dreamt so big. That girl that my mom raised, she raised me to dream so big. But when, I traveled, I went to grad school and then I taught in Costa Rica for a whole year. And then I felt so much shame and guilt when I came home and she was sick. I was like, maybe we could have had more time. Maybe I didn't have to be away for so long. And there was just like all those questions full of shame and guilt. And I suppressed the part of me that dreamt of living around the world, learning new cultures. I was like, maybe I could just do that here in Chicago, And I know that I came back to the US for the reason of like being by my family. But I also, if I could go back, I would protect myself and tell her that she didn't have to carry so much shame and guilt, because my mom would have never wanted that, you know? So if you are a big dreamer, please, please, please keep dreaming big. Even if it seems impossible, have the craziest faith. For example, like me recording on YouTube right now, I don't know where this is going, but it's so cathartic to talk to you every single day and to cheer you on with your dreams and your life. I don't know you, or I may know you in real life, but I am your biggest cheerleader, and I will always, always say, please keep dreaming big. Dreaming big is cathartic. It's also medicine. After I was diagnosed with lung cancer, I was like, why should I dream big? I was like, what the fuck? You know, like literally with those words, I was like, what's the point of dreaming big if I'm just gonna get sick and then we know where this is going? That I might, not be mobile one day. I might not be able to think because lung cancer, travels to the brain. And then there's just like all those questions and all those assumptions. But I had realized that when I am not dreaming big, I'm no longer myself. Like dreaming big has been the one thing that has kept me going through the heartbreaks in life. And I feel like despair and helplessness and wanting to shrink is by design, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman of color. It is by design that you're heartbroken over and over again, but you just gotta push through and see what's on the other side of whatever the hell's going on, right? And it is when we are trying to change our own life, that's when the devil is lurking, literally. So I'm going to repeat that. When we are trying to change our own life, that is when the devil is lurking, and he's going to try to keep bringing you down because you have a purpose in life. Whatever that purpose is, it's to bring light into the darkness. And the devil does not want that. He wants darkness to win, but you are such a light that you're going to power through all those adversities and heartbreaks. Please hang in there. Keep showing up for yourself every single day. Let your intuition guide you. Ask your intuition every single day, like, what is it that you are called to do today? And then ask the same question again tomorrow. What is it that you are called to do today in this moment in time? Whether you are Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, an atheist, I think that all of us are connected to the universe or our own gods or something of a higher being. But ever since I started asking myself that every single day, it's actually from Anne Lamott. She has instructed and mentored for us to think, in this moment, what am I instructed to do? What is my purpose right now? Not in the future, right? Because we may have a vague idea of the future. But yeah, today. So I will leave you guys with that. We are at almost 14 minutes. One day I will get to 30 minutes or 45 minutes. But this is a message that I have for you today. And thank you so much for listening.